What's up, everyone? This is Kronos, aka Adam, back with another WWE Week In review. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. As always, what I like to do is I like to go over everything that happened in this week in WWE programming, Raw, NXT, Smackdown, give my thoughts, give my review. Obviously, we have NXT Takeover 31 this weekend. I'm going to do a preview predictions episode, as well as I also just put together my AEW weekend review, so you can find that probably at the end of this video. So check it out. Let me know what you think. And so we got a lot to do, not a lot of time to do it in, so I'm going to jump right in. Start off with Raw. So we start off in the ring. We got a lineup of the legends tonight, apparently in honor of the ambulance match. So we got Ric Flair, Big Show, Christian, HBK, but he doesn't have any NXT hat or anything there. We got a recap of last night. HBK introduces Drew. Drew reminisces about each one of them and how they played an integral part in his life. HBK says that they had to get revenge, and if he has a problem with that, blame Rick. Orton gets on the Tron, says this isn't over. Orton keeps saying hell, said it a couple times, so obviously we know where that's going. He doesn't need to beg for a match because of who he is. There's a price to be paid when you cross him. He takes his bag and goes home, so obviously we know that he's not actually going home. So Drew issues an open challenge to anyone that he hasn't faced yet. He says that he probably shouldn't because he was injured, but he figures he wants to be a fighting champion. So we get a recap of Zelina and Asuka. We get a backstage interview with Zelina, Kayla, and not Charlie here. I didn't know. I thought maybe Charlie was off or something. She's just getting started here, and Asuka crashes. They argue. Pat Buck, with no mustache or beard, comes in to break it up. I almost didn't recognize him for a second. We find out there will be a King's Court segment with the Mysterio family, which I'm just like, ugh. So we get the Raw Women's title, another rematch, which apparently we're still having, even though we're not supposed to have them anymore, even though we've been having them. So that whole initiative from, almost 2 years ago means nothing. Asuka versus Zelina. It's after every pay-per-view. It's really annoying. So they both attack each other as the bell rings. Asuka armbar. Zelina gets to the rope. Zelina with a modified grounded octopus looked pretty cool. Zelina off the apron, catches a kick to the face. We get the pop-up knee by Asuka, and then a release German. Zelina with a hanging Kimura lock, countered into a suplex by Asuka. Almost the same sequence as last night with the pins, and then the attempt to get into the Asuka lock. And then we get a backstabber while Asuka's back was turned. Asuka with the foot on the ropes, though, during the pin. Zelina goes for a moonsault. Asuka gets the knees up and then transitions that into the Asuka lock for the win. We get the Legends playing poker backstage. Then, which was weird, we came back from commercial and Andrade's in the ring. And he's screaming at Zelina that, you're nothing without me. You blamed me for everything, but I thought she was blaming Garza for everything. He starts going off. He's blaming Garza. He's blaming Zelina. Who wants to face me? He offers an open challenge. Keith Lee's music hits, which I'm like, all right. So obviously we know where this is going. Andrade's great, and now we're gonna have him lose, or it's gonna be a match that doesn't have a finish because it's also Keith Lee. So we get Andrade versus Keith Lee. Andrade with some offense. Lee stops it all with a fun splash. Andrade gets tossed around the ring. He tries to focus on the left knee of Keith. We get a double knees in the corner, but eventually Keith Lee hits a spirit bomb for the win, and it was pretty quick, so I don't know what this really accomplished for Andrade, at least. We get an earlier today segment. Shelton and MVP are eating at catering, and some random guy goes to sit down at their table, this small little table. It's Lash is like, you're in my spot. He moves over, and he's like, it was just so weird, but the looks that, and I think I tweeted this, the pictures of Shelton and MVP, just the look of sheer shock on their face of what was going on was hysterical. We get a 24/7 recap last week on the beach. Truth is playing chess against Little Jimmy. A ninja gives him an envelope. It's the last will and testament of Akira. He left him his black belt. Akira from under the table for the roll-up. The ninja hits Akira for the pin. It's Drew Gulak. Truth then hits Gulak with the briefcase for the pin. So we then find out there's going to be a 24/7 triple threat match later on. But there's no mention of a brand-to-brand invitational for this because Drew Gulak is involved and he is on Smackdown. Logic. One of the many hundreds of recaps we've seen of Seth and the Mysterios. Buddy's backstage. Seth greets him. He seems a little tense. Seth wonders why Bud is in his ring gear, so he wants him to change into his suit. And then for some reason Buddy leaves his phone. Seth takes it and leaves. We get the King's Court now with the Mysterios. Ray says Seth can't control his own house, so he's trying to destroy his. Dominic says he will put an end to this next time he sees Seth. King repeats Ray's words at Aaliyah's interaction with Buddy. Aaliyah says Buddy approached her, and Buddy surrounds himself with bad people. Seth is on the Tron now. One of you isn't being honest with the family. Aaliyah isn't telling the truth about her and Buddy. She then shows a text exchange between her and Buddy, basically wishing a happy birthday, making sure that it's all right. Aaliyah is trying to plead with the family, saying that he's not like Seth, storms off. Buddy confronts Seth but Dom attacks Buddy backstage about, like, why did you grab my phone and do this? We find out that Dom and Buddy will face off later. Lana and Natalya are in the ring. They'll wait in the ring until Shayna and Nia are stripped of the titles. They are the reason that there are tag team titles, which makes zero sense. Adam Pearce is out, says no title stripping, but you can have a match, and then says the newest members of the Raw roster, so Mandy and Dana. So Dana was moved before the draft, no understanding of why, no whether or not it was a free agent, it was a draft, a trade, and if there was a trade, who she was traded for, it doesn't make any sense. So we get Mandy and Dana versus Natalya and Lana. Dana's taking heat for most of the match. Lana with the great slap of Mandy on the outside. We get a hot tag to Mandy. Flip over suplex on Lana by Mandy for a 2 count. And we get a V-trigger by Mandy for the win. Kind of looked sloppy because it looked very flush, straight in the chest, stomach area. But they win, so Mandy and Dana, I guess, are now this new found tag team. We'll see what ends up happening there. Recap of the KO show from last week when Aleister attacked KO. Black is in the dark room, says his father was cruel. KO, you betrayed me for being with your family. Removes the patch to show that he has a black contact. Okie dokie. I hate what they did to Aleister Black here. We get a look in at the legend still playing poker. Show says he could challenge, but is reminded that he got his face kicked in. Street Profits show up. Everyone's all pumped up. We get Kevin Owens versus Aleister Black. New music and entrance for Black. This is just a pure fight. They're just slugging it out. Joe questions why KO wasn't there for Black on commentary. They both looks like they're working really stiff. We get a senton and a German release by KO. KO hits the cannonball senton from the apron to the floor. Back in the ring, we get Black with a PK for a 2 count. KO with the super kick for a 2 count. And then KO does a senton from the top, but Black gets his knees up. We get a V-trigger by Black for a 2 count. Black with an incidental elbow to the ref, who calls for the bell. He was already arguing with the ref throughout the match. Black starts arguing with the ref, but KO hits the stunner. He says, I'll keep fighting, you'll keep being a bitch. That is KO as he's walking up the ramp, which I thought was funny. So we get the Hurt Business, but no Cedric. They're in gear backstage. Ali is coming out of their dressing room, which makes zero sense. Like, if you get turned away around, that's one thing, but you literally walked into their dressing room that says Hurt Business on it. It just makes zero sense. Ali gets pushed. Apollo and Ricochet all of a sudden come out of nowhere to the rescue. They get an appointment for tonight, and it's been booked. That's what Hurt Business says. So we get our 24/7 triple threat match. Truth, Akira, Gulak. Truth's now 41-time champ. Gulak is on Truth. Akira hits the senton. Truth wins. Runs off. I was in and out of this match, so I didn't really pay attention. I knew Truth was going to win. Backstage interview with Mandy and Dana. Charlie's back there. Mandy puts over Dana. Dana says Mandy is an inspiration. They're coming for the titles. They look and all of a sudden look off to the side as if they're like mesmerized by something, and the camera pans over and it's Dom warming up, but he's got the hood on, which I thought was weird because I thought we got rid of that. Dom versus Buddy now. The hood is gone now. Dominic attacks at the bell. Dom is sent over commentary. Dom hits a crossbody from the top. Buddy rolls through for a 2 count. Dom hits a tilt-a-whirl DDT. We get Buddy pulls up the apron. Dom grabs a kendo stick. Aaliyah is out there trying to stop Dominic. While he's distracted with Aaliyah, Buddy rolls him up for a win. Dom flips out on Aaliyah, calls her naive. Aaliyah then slaps him and runs off, even though she was the one who cost him the match. So we had Her Business coming down the hall. MVP throws water bottle on the floor, and a quote-unquote janitor, it tells the janitor to clean it up. Already, something's up with that janitor. He has head down, looks like his face was covered. So we get Ziggler backstage with Pierce. Pierce says, you can't face Drew. And he says, no, not him. I got someone. And Pierce says, okay, let's go to my office to chat. So now we get a six-man Hurt Business, Ali, Apollo, and Ricochet. The official announcement. This official announcement goes over what the definition of insanity is. Talking to Apollo. Same thing everyone's been saying at this point. Cedric was sent to boot camp because of the slip-up from last week. Obviously, that's, he's off camera for the week. Fight breaks out before even the bell rings. Hurt Business take advantage. Then the lights flicker. Retribution logo comes up. They all get shook. They get into the ring, get ready to fight. Come back from commercial. The match is underway. Obviously, we know, and if you don't know, Retribution, there were some members that tested positive. So they are now going to be, I believe, in quarantine for the next 2 weeks, while they're just, testing to make sure that nobody else is test positive, so they're being cautious there, and they're still keeping them relevant by showing the logo and the lights flickering and whatnot, but without them actually being there. So we get Lashley takes out Ali and Ricochet. Apollo with the German release there. Frog crossbody on MVP. Hot tag to Ricochet. We get a springboard moonsault, standing shooting star on Shelton for a 2 count. He misses the Phoenix Splash, but then running knee lift by Shelton. Lashley pulls Ali off the pin. We get Apollo with a moonsault off the apron on Lashley. Ricochet with the senton on Shelton. And then Ali barely hits a satellite DDT, but enough to then stun MVP, hit the 450 splash for the win. This seems like this was the repeat of what happened last time. Ali finally on TV, which is great. We get another look in at the Legends playing poker. Of course, Flair gets a royal flush. We get a Bianca vignette, is beating everyone on the track. A Retribution video package. We then get Drew McIntyre Open Challenge. Dolph comes out, introduces Bobby Roode. So now we get our main event of the WWE title. Drew versus the returning Bobby Roode. Looks like he grew out his hair and his beard a little bit. Drew's still selling the leg injury from the night before. We get a reverse Alabama Slam, sends Roode into the apron. Drew does the suplex from the Tree of Woe spot where he's in the Tree of Woe, pulls himself up, pulls the guy off on a suplex. So we get Roode with a figure 4. Drew reverses the pressure. Roode gets to the rope. We get a Glasgow kiss. Toss German release. Kip up by Drew, but he hurts his knee still. Spinebuster by Roode for a 2 count. We get a Future Shock DDT by Drew for a 2 count. Dolph moves Roode out of the way but catches a boot. We get a Glorious DDT for a very close 2 count. Everyone was, very excited about that, thinking that maybe that was going to be it. Obviously, Drew kicks out, and then he hits the Claymore for the win. But we're not done just yet. So the janitor takes a chair into the Legends room, reveals himself to be Orton, has these weird, I don't even know if they're actually night vision goggles, but he turns the lights off. You hear a beat down, and then everyone's down. And then, which didn't make sense to me, was Pierce and everyone, or Pat Buck maybe, or was it Pierce? I don't remember. With refs are running into the room, and Orton's already outside and like pointing over there, like, oh, it came from there. But you would think that they saw him. So like, why are they just like, oh, you're a janitor pointing? They saw who he is. So anyway, that is Raw. We then go to the NXT Takeover Go Home show. So we get Shotzi Blackheart versus Dakota Kai. I'm not a fan of the Welcome to the Ball drop, leg drop thing that she does, like Jeff Hardy. I find like it takes too long. It just looks stupid. Great submission by Shotzi though. We get Raquel with the distraction for the Uranagi backbreaker. Kai keeps control through picture-in-picture. We get a chicken wing German suplex with the bridge for a 2 count. We get a scorpion kick on the apron by Kai, and then a question mark kick by Shotzi. And then Shotzi needs to just relax with these. She goes for a sliced bread and on the apron and basically just lands on her head. It looked nasty. Raquel goes for the trip. Rhea comes down, sends her into the stairs. We get a face wash kick missed by Kai and Shotzi with the roll up for the win. So obviously, I think Shotzi might get moved up here. I mean, I just don't see what they need her there for. And she's got a great personality. I think she would do well on the main roster. We get a what do you call it? Satellite interview with Swerve and Santos. Santos looking like a G, just hanging out, looking all just G'd up. Swerve says he didn't have fair opportunities. Swerve is said to be a parasite that lingers. Santos says their match will be fair. Swerve has adapted to everything in his life. But Santos says he's built the cruiserweight division in his image and infused it with lucha culture. This was actually really good between the two. I'm looking forward to this match, and I'll talk more about it in my preview and predictions. We had another promo from the mystery person, who I think is going to be Ember Moon. We had a prime target with KO with Kyle O'Reilly. It's fantastic. Just talking about just his career, his the Undisputed Era, a lot of mountain biking pics and video there. It was really, really good. If you didn't really have a good idea of who Kyle O'Reilly is, this was perfect. We get kayfabe. Candice is apparently caused Tegan's torn ACL. Backstage interview with the Garganos. Johnny saying it had to be done. Even because she broke my TV, we tore her ACL. It's destiny for both of them to win. We then get Cameron Grimes out to the ring. He's not in the best of mood right now. Said it was all taken away because of a gimmick match. I'm gonna do my own match. It's the Grimes Invitational Stepping Stone to the Moon match gauntlet. So his first person is Joey Pistachio. Hits a cave-in right away for the win. Joey Strong, he says next. Ridge Holland tosses him out. Grimes tries to plead with him not to get involved. They shake hands, but then Holland hits him with a headbutt. Beats the absolute shit out of him until the bell rings. Backstage interview with Austin Theory. He said, what are you talking about struggles for? I have no struggles. Should have been in the Gauntlet Eliminator match. And he's making fun of Kyle O'Reilly for taking 15 years when it just took him a couple of years to get to WrestleMania. We got a Kushida video package. The new Kushida is here. Dream will feel it. Kushida versus Tony Nese. Kushida is super aggressive. He's going after the left arm shoulder. Get a pump handle, but Kushida holds the arm. Danielson stomps by Kushida. Hoverboard lock for the win. Dream obviously comes on the Tron. The lights turn to purple. Says the spotlight will be too bright for him at Takeover. I don't think so. Slight tease of my preview predictions. Grimes is selling his injury hilariously backstage. Runs into Loomis. Says you're a freak, man. Walks off. Obviously Loomis doesn't say anything. We get Cole out to the ring. Says 3 years since Undisputed Era has dominated NXT. People think they went soft. Cole calls out Theory. Says to say it to his face after everything he said about Kyle O'Reilly. Theory's waiting on the ramp. Gives him two options. Either I come down there and we kick your ass with the Undisputed Era, or you come here and I kick your ass with by myself. So we get Cole versus Theory. Bicycle pump kick by Cole to start. Theory on the outside mocks him with the hand gestures. Tries to leave. We get another pump kick on the outside. Theory sent to the stairs. We get a hangman neck breaker for a 2 count. Theory finally gets a little offense in, and a standing moonsault for a 2 count. Cole hits a backstabber, a fireman's carry, blue thunder bomb by Theory for a 2 count. Cole caught Theory running in with a super kick. He hits another super kick, an Ushigoroshi, and then a last shot for the win. He's putting over Kyle O'Reilly at that point. Backstage interview with Priest and Io. Priest tonight is just a preview of what's going to happen. Io starts saying stuff in Japanese. And then Priest is like, she's cool as hell. And then he leaves, and then Io says, he's not bad. So, Caden Carter versus Xia Li. We get Casey out with Caden. Xia and Caden show respect, but Xia was the one who had beef last time, so I find that a little weird. Xia showing total aggression here. We get a Castador roll through into a super kick by Caden for a 2 count. Caden with a nice roll up for the win. Zaya's pissed off. after the match, pushes Kaden down after she tries to help her, and then Casey, grabs her wrist and says, "What you doing?" She gets in Casey's face and then just storms off. We get our face-to-face with Finn and Kyle O'Reilly, hosted by HBK. This was awesome. It's an empty ring. They start off with a handshake because he doesn't think, HBK doesn't think that they have any beef right now. They keep putting each other over. They have a lot of respect for one another. HBK says O'Reilly is the best kept secret. Finn says he's not the best kept secret unless you don't know wrestling. I follow the business because the business follows me, and I know what's going on, and I know Kyle O'Reilly is one of the best. Kyle O'Reilly says that he loves that Finn can stroke his own ego. Defeat is an absolute certainty, according to Finn. Are you going to show up alone? HBK asks about the conflict with Cole. Kyle O'Reilly mocks Grimes a little bit, saying that, maybe he was right. I'm not like Cole, because I'm not. I'm different, but I'm still going to win. Main event for a one night versus main event that's going to last a lifetime is what Finn says. The underdog claim is BS. I know that what I can do. And Finn says, you know what, you'd be the champ if it was on anybody else besides me. So it was really, really good. And then we get our main event, Priest and EO versus Johnny and Candice. Brawl breaks out. We get Johnny moves, so EO hits double knees on Candice. EO off Priest's shoulders, dive to the outside, takes everybody out. Johnny helps Candice take advantage during picture-in-picture by taking a 619 to the back. We get a toss Falcon Arrow on Johnny for a 2 count. Tornado Flatliner by Johnny. We get a crossface by EO. Johnny pulls her off. We get a Casadora driver by Candice. Missed the Lion Salt. We get a Tiger Driver backbreaker by EO. EO goes for a moonsault and Johnny pushes her out. So EO hits it on Johnny. We get a Reckoning attempt. Candice with the kick to the balls while the ref is turned. And then we get one final beat by Johnny for the win. Candice hits the backstabber to EO. Johnny then takes the titles, puts them around each other's waist, which, it spells very bad for them. And then, let me just see where we're at time-wise. Not too bad. We get our Smackdown preview, our Smackdown review. Roman and Heyman out to the ring. So we're supposed to have this tribal chief coronation. It takes him 5 minutes to get to the ring, like he's the Undertaker. Heyman knew this was destined to happen. Roman doesn't want Heyman to acknowledge him as the tribal chief because Jay didn't, and he asked Jay to come out. Jay's out, says, I don't know you anymore. You beat my ass, but you didn't break my spirit. Roman says Clash was one of the worst nights of his life. He just wanted to help Jay, but Jay disrespected and embarrassed him and the family. Roman says Jay only cares about the title because he thinks Jay's only looking at the title. He says, fine, you want another rematch? Fine. You want it at Hell in a Cell? Fine. But it'll be the highest stakes of any WWE match. And Jay says, whatever it is, it's on. So, I'm assuming maybe like a loser leaves town, loser leaves the family. I don't know. AJ comes out. Is the luau over? He said, Jay matters to AJ, but he doesn't want to see him take another beating. Give someone else a chance who actually has a chance of winning the Universal title. Calls him the runt. Jay attacks him. Dive off the announce table. And we know where this is going when we come back from commercial. Jay versus AJ. This, obviously we knew this was going to happen, like I said. So AJ's using Jay's anger against him, letting him, just run in with reckless abandon, missing stuff. We get a Pele kick, then a fireman carry Ushigoroshi by AJ for a 2 count. Jay hits a suicide dive. Splash attempt gets the knees by AJ. We get a phenomenal forearm attempt, but Jay super kicks him off the ropes. Jay then hits a top rope splash for the clean win, which was pretty cool. This kind of makes me think that AJ is going to be going over to Raw. And we get a recap of the ladder match. Sammy's backstage promo, both belts. You probably expect him to gloat. He resents and anger. He has resent and anger to have to go through the lengths to retain his title. Blames everybody here for allowing it to go on, and no one really stepping up and saying anything. So we get, hold on one second. Let's see what we got here. Sorry, people. Something happened. Let's see. Yeah, okay. BS. So we get John Morrison versus Otis, which is basically, we get a recap of what happened. This was a squash match. No real offense by Morrison. He hits the, he hits the Caterpillar, does the Vader Bomb, and that's it. But we get a promo during the, right before the match by Otis saying he'll represent himself in court. You know that old saying, the person that represents himself has a fool for a client. Sheamus versus Gable, because why? We're going back to this for no reason, but wasn't Gable still a heel? So Big E posted a challenge on Twitter earlier that day for a Falls Count Anywhere match, and his actually made sense. Like, hey, the draft is coming up. We might have to do this sooner rather than later. So Gable with a jobber entrance. Sheamus is posted with a German with a bridge by Gable for a 2 count. And that's pretty much it. Goes for a moonsault, gets 2 brogue kicks, and then loses. That was it. KO backstage is prepping for the KO show. On the monitor behind him, the Firefly Funhouse appears. So we get the KO show courtesy of the Brand to Brand Invitational. KO is rocking a Street Profits shirt. I like that. Alexa is his guest. We had a recap of the match last week with Lacey, going all crazy. He sees the change and it reminds him of how Aleister Black on Raw changed. She doesn't know what he means. Says, don't you want to change KO? Actually, I've been trying to, because he's being remorseful of all the negative shit he did over the years. He says, maybe you can help him understand Black. She asks if you've ever been around him, and then describes it. It's intoxicating, it's this, it's that. He looks through you. So KO says, oh, you're brainwashed. And she goes, yes, my brain has been washed. All the lies are gone. So he goes, he's here, isn't he? And she's like, yeah, he's everywhere. And let him in. Lights go out, come back up. He's getting KO's getting the mandible claw. Alexa watches. And then the Fiend extends his hand. And then she grabs it. She smiles, but I don't know, just look weird. Corbin, Cesaro, Shinsuke versus Riddle, Lindsay, and Grand Metalik in a 6-man tag. We had a pre-match interview with Riddle and Lucha House Party. They're making fun of Kalisto, basically saying that he's arrogant because he's got a big head, he can't get his mask on, all this stuff. Kalisto out to the ring immediately. He's like, hey guys, you didn't wait for me. It was just ridiculous, even though he looks shredded. We get Grand Metalik taking heat. Lindsay with the springboard stunner on Shinsuke. Kalisto accidentally kicks Lindsay. Riddle is able to take advantage. Does the Bro Derek on Cesaro for the win. And then while they're celebrating, Kalisto and Lindsay start to go at it. Obviously, Riddle gets involved to break them up. We get a recap of Bayley and Sasha. And then the big mystery woman who was looking into a mirror. Oh, what do you know? It's Carmella. We all know it. Basically blaming all of us. So the second time tonight we're getting blamed for something, that we wanted her to dance and that she didn't want to dance. I don't know. Whatever. I hope they do something with her because she's great. I think she's fun. She says she's no longer the Princess of Staten Island. We kind of hurt a little bit. We get Sasha out to the ring. Did you think her not being medically cleared would stop her from coming out of Clash? Bayley is a coward that needed her. Next week they're going to face off on Smackdown for the Smackdown Women's title. Sasha takes off the knee brace. Bayley doesn't stand a chance, bitch. But now it's all this stuff that we've been talking about. Oh, we're gonna wait, and now they're just throwing it on a SmackDown episode. I mean, obviously we know there's gonna be some kind of long finish there. So, all right, and then we find out next week we're gonna get the KO versus Fiend, who has apparently never competed on SmackDown before. Big E versus Sheamus, Falls Count Anywhere. Bayley and Sasha versus SmackDown Women's title. This is all pretty big as the what do you call it? The draft is going to be that day, the first day one of the draft. Then we get our main event, Sammy versus Jeff Hardy for the Intercontinental title. Another rematch. Sammy with the rib tape and the title. He's doing the title like it's a swinging dick. He's just it's pretty funny. Leapfrog by Sammy. Is met with a drop kick to the injured ribs. Sammy removed the top turnbuckle pad early on. Obviously, the ref didn't see it, and he couldn't get Hardy into it, though. Hardy misses a dive and lands on the edge of the barricade. Sammy's in control now. He takes too long to the top, though, for a maneuver and gets crotched. Hardy with the superplex. We get a twist of fate countered into a near fall. Sammy hits the exploder suplex into the corner. Blue Thunder Bomb for only a 2 count. Hardy goes for a Whisper in the Wind. Sammy takes out the legs. And, looks like he hits his face on the exposed turnbuckle. And Sammy is able to pin for the win to retain the Intercontinental title. Fantastic match. And that is Smackdown, and that is WWE for this week. As always, I give my match of the week. And I'm definitely going with this Intercontinental match, Sammy versus Jeff Hardy. I know it sucks with the rematches, and I know I sound kind of hypocritical, but it was a good match. It's been a good story, so it's like you kind of give it the little bit of the benefit of the doubt. The problem is that the majority of these rematches, usually they're definitively finished, or they're just a match to set up the next match, which is not good. But this was a fantastic match, really good. Obviously, AJ wasn't involved since I assume that he's going to be moved to Raw. I like that Sammy was the right choice. I enjoy him, and so Sammy is still your Intercontinental champ, as he should be. And I assume there'll be some more feuding with Jeff Hardy. I hope not. I hope someone else gets involved, but we'll see what ends up happening there. So that's it for WWE Week in Review. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. We got a Takeover predictions preview today. I'm going to be recording and putting up, as well as the AEW Week in Review, which can be found hopefully at the end of this video. And so as always, be safe, love each other, and bye now.